Hello and welcome. Fantasy Access Week 2. Little rip. Oh, man. We had football last week.
Yeah,
Finally.
we did. Wow.
Finally.
How about it?
Oh, a whole offseason of waiting, drafts, research, all that good stuff. And we finally got to watch some games, and it was glorious.
It was.
Jared, did you get to experience Red Zone for the first time?
Well, I've watched it before,
but
I think this is the first time I sat down at the start, like week
Fully
one.
committed.
The channel goes live.
How'd that make you feel?
It's pretty cool. Shout out Pat for having me. Of course, it wasn't my Red Zone. I went over to my friend's house.
Oh, okay.
Like we talked
Just like you
about.
said you would
Just like I
last
said I
year.
Yeah,
would.
that was what you said
Right.
was what you were gonna do.
Right.
So
Ate his food.
Nice.
Left, when I
Left
wanted
when
to
you
leave.
wanted, yeah.
exactly the
Boom.
outline you drew up.
Right.
You ran the play exactly as it was drawn up. You executed it perfectly.
Yeah, so a full weekend of football, lots to watch, lots to get into here. But we'll start with a little quick question. And so who is your favorite fantasy player this year? Who are you just excited about? Just a guy you like in the league?
I'm excited about Christian McCaffrey because I got to pick him twice in my leagues. And he's just the best fantasy football player.
He is
And
fun
he's
to
so
watch.
fun to have
Does
on your
pretty
team.
well.
Yeah.
And he ripped off a 60-yard run for a touchdown week one. And so it was just instant validation that, I made the right move. It's just great to have him on your team.
Yeah, I like it.
So far, I've really enjoyed Breece Hall's return.
Yeah.
He had 100 yards on 2 carries. You missed that.
Right.
First two carries of the season.
That's pretty electric.
If you had any questions about what he was up to, so that's been a fun. That was a fun. It got me the win last week in fantasy by I overcame Joe Burrow's 3 points, 3-point performance with Breece Hall getting I think like 18 or 19.
Nice.
So I was able to win my matchup by that, which was awesome. So I'll ride that high hand for a little bit.
I like it. There's so many to choose from, but I'm gonna go with just a steadfast guy for me. Maybe not like the sexiest pick this year, but I just year in and year out, I've just liked him. He's on my dynasty team. Stephon Diggs. He's just a solid player, even against a great Jets defense. He still finds little holes.
First half. Plays. In the first half, he did.
Yeah.
He did not in the second half. They made an adjustment.
But he's fun to watch when him and Allen, joined forces. They struck something, and it's been good ever since. And he's just a fun player to watch. Allen's fun to watch. Probably pretty frustrating for some people. Josh Allen this week, or last week,
Wasn't very good.
but I still like watching Diggs, and he's pretty good little right route runner, receiver, good hands.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're going to try to incorporate their tight end and throw it to, why is his name number 13? I forget his name right now.
Gabe Davis.
Yeah, Gabe Davis. But,
He's tried,
at the end of the day, this is just sheer, remembering the game. Like, the targets went to him. So,
it's always a good one.
Get his numbers.
Yep. All right, so we'll get right into it with our first segment. Chop it up.
Let's do it.
Something we always like to do, and this week it's just week one reactions.
All right,
just
what do you got?
holy smokes! I think the biggest one, maybe the biggest injury in NFL history. I don't know. Maybe that's saying a lot.
Could be.
I mean, there's probably bigger injuries in NFL history.
Well, quality of injury, like Alex Smith's leg, but
oh no, yeah, I know what you mean.
And team and
okay, yeah,
hype
I don't know
and
if
team. There's a bigger.
I'd say the biggest injury for going this way is when Lawrence Taylor snapped that quarterback's leg in half. Whoever that was, Joe Theismann, and that dramatically transformed we now have to invest in left tackles. That was the biggest
All right,
but anyway, I see your point.
Right.
I'm not gonna.
But there was just so much hype around the Jets.
Quarterback
away. They got all this talent.
Hard knocks.
Right. It was just like the Rodgers show, and I mean they have a great team.
He ran out there with the American flag. I mean, I think the hype.
It was cool.
The hype to drop
crazy. And primetime football, Monday night, everyone's watching. Most views of a Monday Night Football game ever, I guess.
Yeah.
And 4 plays in,
4 snaps.
The Aaron
Brees Hall had a
Rodgers.
24-yard run over in there.
Rodgers goes down with a torn Achilles. Just crazy.
Yeah, throw the ball, Aaron. The pass was wide open.
Yeah, get rid of it.
On both ones he was pressured, the play was to have the tackles chop block their or cut block, I guess it's called.
Right.
The DNs, they did. Garrett Wilson was wide open on both, and Aaron Rodgers didn't throw the ball.
Ugh.
Like, one time he got away and threw the ball away. The other time he did not. And, it's an odd mistake from someone who is so, so seasoned as a veteran.
Right.
You wonder, not playing in the preseason, did that impact, your inability to, get rid of that football right there?
Right.
He only played the 2 series, so who knows? But, that was gross when they slowed it down and zoomed into his calf, and you watched it literally explode. Anyway, so
it stinks. And for Jets fans, that's a huge bummer. But your team looks great.
Yeah,
so it's not like I don't feel bad for you for your team.
And you know what? If you want to get,
it just stinks that Rodgers.
This is a fantasy show. If you want to get really creative and you happen to have just a stash spot, I don't know. There's a difference between. I'm not going to say that Zach Wilson's going to become some big time stud, but there's some he was the best quarterback on the field that night. Not even a question. He was way better than Josh Allen. And he has an actual coach now. Yep. He has a coach that has a track record of getting this is the guy that took Blake Bortles within a Tom Brady drive of the Super Bowl. Think about that.
Yeah.
So he finally has somebody that's there. He at least is throwing the ball to the he had a bad interception. Again, I think quarterbacks do that. I'm gonna make excuses for that one. But he had some big time throws in that game.
Yeah, I think the big thing too with him is last year everybody wanted a better quarterback on the team, so everyone was rooting against him, and now everyone's rooting for him because they they wanted to bring somebody in, they wanted to do it. The guy goes down, and they've built this huge team around him that's fantastic. I don't know. I just feel like the expectations are the now you want him to do good, and just that encouragement and that.
So he completed
confidence.
70% of his passes in the second half. Threw a touchdown in the second half, threw 100 yards in the second half, and they scored 13 points in the second half. I'll take that all day. You multiply that times 2. If you can do that, when they actually game plan for him, you give me 200 yards from Zach Wilson and 26 points, they're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, he should be serviceable.
I hope that he is. I hope that second half was not just a flash in that, because he has had those moments in the past.
Garrett Wilson helped him out on that touchdown.
That's what
he's going to do.
That's why you get Garrett Wilson, right? That's why you have Garrett Wilson.
Pulled it away from him.
That's why Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs. Yeah. That's why these receivers exist, because they can make great plays like that. Zach Wilson's not the only quarterback that's ever been bailed out by a top-notch wide receiver. It happens every game in the NFL.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean. I hope it's better than last year, and I'm optimistic that it can be, because they have the right supporting staff in place, the right defense, and the right offensive coordinator who is an actual quarterback coach rather than the guy they had the last 2 seasons. I just don't think that was very much of a help for him.
And the defense is great.
Defense looks unreal.
Yeah.
So
you got to feel good about that. I'm sure we'll keep talking about Jets throughout the show, but another Achilles injury, J.K. Dobbins, who probably could have had 3 touchdowns in that game. He'll went in again for another 2 after Dobbins scored 1 in the first half.
Yeah.
It's just such a bummer for that guy. He gets hurt 2 years ago. Right. Destroys his knee, makes it back, all that rehab, all that time spent getting back, getting right, and then the poor guy.
So he was finally healthy, and this is it. I'm pretty sure this is his 4th year, right?
4th year on his rookie contract.
He's done after this, and
I don't know who's gonna sign.
Yeah.
Crushing.
What a just bad luck career he's had so far. with injuries. Like he can be a premier back in the league.
Right.
And
we saw it at the end of his rookie season. He was scoring touchdowns left and right.
Yeah.
That offense, I think that offense might have even been better this year. They got some pieces. Flowers looked good.
Yeah.
Right.
Ravens should be decent. And I just thought he was in line for
you
great
kept seeing
season.
flashes throughout, whenever he could get on the field.
Right.
And last year, kind of rehabbing from that ACL. And so, this year,
Wheels
high
up.
expectation,
Yeah.
wheels up. He's ready to go. And it's kind of same thing instantly. And you're right. And end of his rookie contract. He's now had a repaired ACL. He's going to have a repaired Achilles.
Yeah.
Repaired Achilles,
It's-
repaired
that's-
knee. Yeah, he's a walking wounded guy. Just hope that he's seems like a good guy too.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Right.
tough that it happens to him.
Stinks.
And
that's probably one of the higher, back to fantasy, but the higher invested.
yeah, you
Draft
drafted
picks.
that guy in the
Drafted-
first round.
Well, probably
first,
like
second round.
Yeah, and you expect him to be, a key player on your team, and now you're on the waiver wire this week looking for replacements, trying to pick up Justice Hill or Gus Edwards. You don't know who it's going to be. It's just a mess, and it's just fantasy injuries are a part of fantasy. It is what it is.
It's part of it. It's like
Well, it's true.
fantasy's the actual game.
No, we talked
Right,
about
right.
the actual game.
I know,
We
just
talked about
kidding.
his career.
Yeah.
But fantasy wise, yeah, it is. It stinks. Now you got to go and make adjustments and I don't know, do your best. Maybe find something on the
And
waiver wire.
It's easy to now be like, I'm glad I didn't draft him. I knew he was going to get hurt again. But this is a completely separate injury and another freak accident.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can't predict injuries even from, guys who've had previous injuries. Like if he re-aggravated his ACL in
That'd
some
be
way,
one thing.
that'd be one thing. But right, a completely
He
different
looked
injury.
good.
And he looked good.
Right.
Like his knee was fine. He had 2 working legs. It just his
Right.
Achilles snapped or whatever happened.
I had him in one of my leagues and I don't regret drafting him to the extent that like the process was right. Like, Right. He looked good. The
You didn't
offense
know
looked
this was
good.
going to happen.
Yeah. So I don't regret that move. That was a great move for fantasy. But, if I could go back now, sure, because he's not going to play this season. But, the process was right there.
In the
It was
moment,
just
you
too
did
bad.
the right thing.
Yeah. Other big takeaways. Joe Burrow did not show up. I don't know if that was preseason or
He was under constant
Yeah.
pressure. They were massaging that leg on the sideline all the time. So that injury does seem a little more serious than I indicated it might be last week.
Browns pass rush looks pretty good.
Right.
Something to think about going forward. I mean, that Browns team probably wants to play good defense and run the ball. I mean, they got Nick Chubb, one of the best rushers in the league. So that makes sense. But yeah.
I think it's a case of Joe Burrow missed a lot of the preseason with that injury. So I don't know if it's, obviously if he's massaging his leg on the sideline, that's not a good sign.
Right.
But I think it's more of the time he missed meant he wasn't quite as prepared for week 1 against the Brown team that I guess, has his number.
Yeah, decent. Yeah, right. I guess we should have probably said this at the beginning of this segment, but week 1 anyways, all the reactions there could be a lot of that where was this team rusty or are they really good? Are they bad? There's you don't want to overreact to any of this stuff. Just because that, a lot of these players, this is their first action, in the preseason and all that.
I think especially division games where the Browns have seen Joe Burrow, as much as anybody.
Right.
And so, they know how to get to him. They know how to get past the Bengals offensive line. And so you can't really react to a bad game in a week 1 division game where your quarterback has missed the preseason, rehabbing his leg. So personally, I'm not worried about Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense.
T. Higgins didn't score.
Higgins. I'm not too worried about that.
I don't even know did Chase do anything? Not much, obviously.
No, he couldn't get him the ball.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
So, we expect to bounce back from them. Obviously, it's a good team. Dolphins were crazy. Dolphins and
Yeah,
Chargers look like good teams.
A lot of high flying offense in there. Chargers, I maybe this is more. I don't know where this goes on the show sheet, but
It's all right.
the Chargers had what's that running back's name? Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly.
It looks like they're going to lean on him a little bit more than people thought. So if you're in the situation where I was in, which is you're expecting to get consistent double-digit point games out of Dobbins, that could be a place to go.
You lost him too.
Picked him up. He rushed for 91 yards and a touchdown.
You outbid me for him.
I did.
Well done.
Yeah.
I was
What
like,
did you
what? 16, I think.
I bid 23.
Yeah.
I learned my
Well
lesson
done.
last year.
But honestly, like I like the prospect. You lost Dobbins and need like a running back. So you actually, I think you played it great. 23% of your fab, you could say, and like because it's beginning of the season, and you got a guy that like was very involved. So
yeah, presumably will be involved moving forward.
Right,
Yeah.
and Eckler's a little banged up. He could have a great game this week.
Even more.
You need him now
opportunity.
too.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else on the waiver wire pops up, and you're able to
grab
him, or a stash that comes to fruition. And later in the season, but right now you got a guy that performed great last week with an injured other, running back mate in his backfield. I think it's a great call. Fill him up this week. Josh Kelly, I like it.
Okay. Glad you support my decision.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you outbid me.
Yeah.
Cowboys defense is pretty intense. I know. I'm just going off the top of my head here with this chop it up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the Giants were really ready to play that football game.
That was nuts in the rain too.
Yeah, the Dallas defense is good. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know it's that good.
Right. Another instance of Dallas just has Dallas has the Giants number.
Guys like blocking the wrong direction. Like
that was nuts. So I was playing against them in my other league, and I was the matchup was getting close, and I was just worried that like any one handoff gets fumbled, or like they were just racking up points left and right. 7 sacks. That was nuts.
Yeah, so I would expect a bit of a regression to the mean as the season goes on, but that's a defense. All right, so this is a good chop it up.
Yeah.
Based on week 1, like who are the premier defenses that can score like a wide receiver or a running back, right? Because like if you can get a defense that can consistently put up those points, what are those defenses? Jets,
Cowboys, and I mean, they shut down Burrow. I don't know if that was a Burrow thing or
the Browns probably.
The Browns might be in there.
Say the Saints.
Saints are great.
We can throw in the 49ers.
49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the one that scored 7 touchdowns last year.
Right.
Yeah, the defense actually scored.
Niners gave the Steelers a heck of a time too.
So I think
Yeah, those are probably top.
Defense
top
gets
the
that's
Patriots.
the thing that you overlook, and you can if you have the right defense, you can score. Depending on what your scoring is, a lot of points.
Right.
So
it's not something that should be overlooked.
I mean, the common strategy seems to be picking up defenses based on matchups, but if you get your hands on one of those defenses, I mean, there's 4 or 5 in the league maybe, but those are
right.
Those are some
high
teams. Those are
players
some teams.
too. Nick Bosa. And
I mean, like the Jets played the Bills. Like the Bills is a good offense, but that shouldn't scare you off from still playing them because you can get a punt return touchdown at the or you can get 3 interceptions off of Josh Allen, and you get to him a couple times. And even if the Bills put up enough points and yards to kind of negate that initial 10 points you get, like the picks and the sacks, and
the sacks are huge.
Like that's how you get your numbers.
You look at a team that can apply pressure with their front 4, like Dallas, like New York, like San Francisco. And I don't know that like having like if you have defensive players in your league, like having Nick Bosa as a defensive player makes a whole bunch of sense.
Yeah, like we said,
linebackers are the way to go.
Yeah.
But like having getting a defense that has those pass rushers.
That's what I was thinking,
where you want to be,
right?
Because you get a point for each sack, or you get like half a point depending on what it is, half a point for a pressure or a QB hit or something like that.
It can set the tone of a game. Those guys being in the backfield the whole time, like Joe Burrow with Myles Garrett running down, dancing at the line. He's like coming in. Like,
and that's what happened to Josh Allen. He had no time.
Quentin Williams. on.
Which Williams? There's two. There's Quinnen and there's Quincy. Quincy Williams is a linebacker at 10 tackles. Quinnen Williams is the D line.
Yeah, he was in there a lot.
He's just living next to Josh Allen in the pocket.
That makes a huge difference.
So it is something that turns mistakes, which you get fantasy points for.
That's right.
Turns into quarterback mistakes, you get fantasy points for.
Yeah. So that's
Great
I guess
up section.
Yeah. The only other thing is I was surprised by Brandon Ayuk in that game. That was crazy. 2 touchdowns, ton of yards. And McCaffrey is awesome.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, so it looks like Brock Purdy's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's got some playmakers on his team.
Just goes to show you like what coaching can do. You know, like you have the right coach that can drop the right scheme and like coach the quarterback up. Like, you know, it can turn the last draft pick into a quality football player, but also fantasy contributor.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible.
For sure. All right, yeah. So that's us chopping it up here. Week 1 reactions, and we're looking forward to another set of games coming up. All right, let's make some takes, some hot takes.
Yeah, fire.
Yeah, keep them spicy. So we've got somebody who's going to surprise this week, somebody to sit, avoid, that kind of player, and your smash spot, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Which
Just
we both have
crush
to ask you what smash spot
So
meant
I've
again.
been
It
on
had
the
been
show
a-
for 4 years now.
Right.
And I still
don't know.
this
There's
smash
no
spot.
real definition.
Someone's going to smash
Kind of,
it.
it's a vibe.
Okay.
All right. It's more open to interpretation. But all right, what do you got? Surprise.
So my surprise, I'm going to say Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Looked good.
Yeah.
Week
Did look
1.
good.
I mean, a lot of questions around it, but it seemed to be answered. And he had a good start. They're facing a bad Atlanta team this week. We should kind of see more of the same of what happened, and that's a pretty good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, so he's a pretty good quarterback, period, it seems.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they look good.
And wasn't Aaron Jones's 30-yard touchdown, wasn't that a pass? Or was that a rush?
I don't know.
I forget. But if you have Aaron Jones who can take it 30 yards after a little dunk, you know, that helps your stats a little bit.
Yeah, he's getting the job done, and he's got some like young talent to work with.
And he should have Watson back this week, or
Right.
it's up in the air. But
I even like that Luke Musgraves, the other rookie tight end. He looked involved.
yeah,
He could have had he like fell down at like the 5 or something after a catch. It was a tough play, but if he somehow could have stayed on his feet, it would have been a different score for him. Might have been a waiver wire guy this week, but he looked good. How about you? You got a surprise guy?
I think a lot of people are going to downplay these guys this week because of who they're playing and what their quarterback situation is. But, yeah, either of the Jets running backs, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, I think they're going to have a big day on Sunday. The Jets will use those 3 tight end sets. Yeah, like they're going to lean on the run.
And they have the defense
they have
to do it.
neutralize the pass rush somehow. So I think they're going to look for some screen action.
Yeah.
The one, they ran a screen. I think they ran 1 or 2 of them, and Breece Hall broke one for 20 yards. So I think there's probably a tendency you're going to want to say, oh, quarterback situation is questionable, playing against an elite defense. Maybe you have somebody, a different running back you think is going to be able. I think stick with those 2 guys. There's a lot of yards to be had on the ground on Sunday.
Yeah, they look good. Although I wonder if Breece Hall fully recovered, houses that first run.
Oh yeah, he absolutely houses that first run. He definitely ran out of gas around.
Also, there was a
40-yard
block.
line.
I think Garrett Wilson was like
thought
cheering.
he had it done. And
He's
he
like,
was
"Oh, wait."
standing right next to the guy. But there's a block by the third. That was a 3 tight end set by Jeremy Ruckert, their third string tight end. Just smashes some guy 5 yards down the field that springs the run. So they've got the personnel to have these guys, or just run behind Mekhi Becton. He's blocking 3 guys at a time.
That's good stuff.
So, yeah.
I do like them. They're going to be good, and they're going to need them. And then my surprise was kind of like Jared's surprise last week that I think might surprise again. Kendrick Bourne. He was
your boy.
I don't know. He looked good.
Yeah. I mean,
for a Patriots receiver that
I think preseason kind of rankings of the Patriots wide receivers had him at like third behind Parker and Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
But he looked like the one, and Mac Jones like serviceable. We know he's not going to set the league on fire, but he got the ball to him, and he finished with an okay numbers, and I don't know, Kendrick Bourne was getting the job done.
And when push came to shove, like he was on the field, and Juju Smith-Schuster was not.
Yeah.
Right toward the end of the game. So
I mean, if you need a wide receiver 3, like someone you can pick up off the waiver wire probably this week.
Scored a touchdown, didn't he?
He's a guy that looks like he's going to be involved. I also like Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I was questioning whether or not how much he was gonna contribute. I think in our original show, I thought like Gesicki would see more of the and he did see a lot of targets too. I think those Patriot tight ends are probably going to be valuable this season.
I think so.
And Mac definitely likes Hunter Henry since Mac came into the league.
Yeah. Well, Hunter Henry was good with
right.
With the Chargers.
He was good with the Chargers.
And then he came over, and Mac was new and like had an okay rookie year, but last year was no pass catching options were viable starts last year from the Patriots, and now it's just nice to see like they are gonna do something.
I think a lot of that is coaching.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I like both of them.
I have a hard time trusting any Patriots offensive weapon fantasy wise because it was Kendrick Bourne's week this week.
True,
but it could easily be he drops to 4 targets, 2 catches, just because whatever happens, the game script opens it up for Parker, who's back this week.
Sure.
Or someone else, on the depth chart, or maybe it's a more run heavy game in Miami. It's just
that's the other thing. They're playing Miami, so they got to keep up somehow.
I mean, right. I mean,
so that's why I kind of like them this week.
The last time there's been a legitimate fantasy option from the Patriots offense was Gronkowski.
Oh yeah,
and you could
a stud,
and Tom Brady,
right? You could just rely would consistently score points.
Like you couldn't play Edelman, week in and week out, then it's kind of since then no one wide receiver has really stepped up. So I'm kind of afraid. It was a great week by Kendrick Bourne, but unless he's the guy week in and week out, I have a hard time.
So you're gonna wait.
I have a hard time trusting him at all.
You're gonna wait and see. It's all right. You can wait and see.
Right.
Well, you put him in the surprise. He's gonna surprise.
That's right. All right. All right, now who are we sitting?
I'm playing the doubter so that it's still a surprise.
Thank you. Who are you sitting?
I'm sitting / avoiding Rashad White.
Ooh, I like it.
Running back from Tampa Bay. Super inefficient. He got the volume, and that's kind of all people really wanted to see is the depth. The depth chart was lacking behind him. They gave him the ball plenty of times, and he still couldn't really do anything with it. And so I think that kind of answered some questions of 1, is he going to get the volume, and 2, is he actually a good player? And yes, the volume's there, but no, he's not really a good running back.
Right.
And Tampa Bay's offensive line probably not going to help him out throughout the season. The game script probably isn't going to help them out throughout the season. If I know they won last week, but odds are they're going to be losing in a lot of games. And
they're not quite the juggernaut they were with Brady.
Right. And just I don't think the volume is enough to support Rashad White week in and week out.
17 carries, 30-something yards,
right?
Yeah,
he's like 1.8 yards per carry. Right. It's not great.
Not great.
I like it. What about you?
Sorry. I was just going to say, and without a touchdown, he scored, 5 fantasy points last week?
Yeah. Not worth it. I'm going to sit Dak Prescott. Coming off, he didn't have a great, this breaks one of 2 ways. It breaks the Jets defense is going to wreak havoc on him again, just like like they did Josh Allen, or Zach Wilson gives the ball to the Cowboys 6 times and they win 40-0, and he scores only 5 fantasy points again because they don't have to throw the ball.
Right.
So this is, I don't think it's a smart play. If you got another quarterback in there, that seems like it might be the better play than Dak Prescott.
Yep. I'm along the same line of thinking. I have the passing game from the Steelers and the Cowboys. Just because of those
wide receivers
in general.
On those
wide receivers and the quarterbacks, just because they're going to get those pass rushes.
What about that tight end from Dallas you like so much?
Oh, yeah. He'll score a touchdown. Jake Ferguson.
Is now the time.
Do we want to bring it up? So you predicted, if listeners
it's
of
a
the show
long
remember
season.
from week 1,
Long
you predicted,
season.
was it 9 touchdowns?
9 touchdowns incoming.
Let's make
So we
sure
have a-
we can. Yeah,
we have
see
a
it.
meter. 0 through 9, and just to confirm, can we add anything?
Not yet. Not a rain game.
Not in a
He
rain
brought
game?
he brought
No,
a
no.
red marker, even though he knew he wasn't going to use it.
Just wanted to make sure.
All right.
See if I didn't miss anything.
Not
So,
yet.
so still
Wait
at
and
0. Long season.
That's
What
right.
we got? 16 games left.
Yeah.
Plenty of room for 9 touchdowns.
Plenty of room. You wait and see once they have to throw the ball.
Yeah,
When their defense
that's-
isn't
that's fair.
absolutely destroying people. All right. How about a smash spot?
Smash
Your
spot.
interpretation.
I got Saquon Barkley.
Ooh, he's going to bounce back.
And he's going to bounce
He's
back.
mad.
I think,
Giants fans are mad.
Yeah.
right.
Or
I think
owners are
Giants
mad.
fans are mad. I think Dayball, I'm sure he's probably,
Mad.
I'm sure he's pissed.
He didn't look happy.
No.
No.
And so they have the Cardinals coming up. I think that's a great
Get
team
right.
to
Get right.
bounce
Get
back
right.
from.
Get right game.
And
That's
if
what we
they
need.
find
Get right
themselves, up a lot early, it's just going to be, here you go, Saquon, do your thing.
Are you worried that if they get up early, they're going to not give the ball to Saquon? That would be the only thing I worry about in that situation. Like, he's a fragile guy.
That's fair.
You know, we save him. We put him on a pitch count and save him for something else.
I mean, maybe even if he sits the fourth quarter, I think they get enough going early. He gets a touchdown. I think enough early on will come to him that he'll have a great game.
But, to, I guess, talk about last week, Cardinals were in that game. So if the Cardinals find a way to stay in the game, then
Right.
Saquon Barkley may continue to see all those touches that, as long as he doesn't fumble the ball.
I don't see a way the game turns out where Saquon doesn't eat at some point.
Right.
Right.
I like it.
I'll go with Chris Olave. Seems like he's going to be the premier target in the Saints offense.
Sure.
Went for over 100 yards last week. Saw, I think, 9 receptions. So,
He's explosive.
yeah, you got. I don't think he scored a touchdown last week. I don't remember, to be honest.
No.
You got anything? Yeah. So imagine that amount of production with a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Derek Carr is going to be great for that.
Yeah.
8 receptions,
good.
112 yards.
8 receptions, not 9. Yeah.
they
I think
got
there's some good stuff
Carolina,
there.
who's nothing too worrisome.
I think
don't
that
they're-
look
Their
at
team's
those
okay, but-
those numbers right there, man. Like 8 receptions, 112. Shaheed had 5 for 89.
Your boy Jared.
Thomas
Yeah.
5 for 61. Jawan Johnson 3 for 30. Like they like those guys.
I like
those
that
guys
tight
are gonna
end,
eat.
Juwan Johnson. I mean, Carr coming from Waller, like he
Yeah.
likes to use the tight end. He didn't have a huge game, but he had a couple targets that were enough. And I think there was one in play towards the end of the game where he could have had another huge play, but they just missed it. But
Yep.
yeah, all those weapons I think are startable,
Yeah, I
which is awesome.
think
Yeah.
all 3 of those wide receivers have fantasy. Again, like just add a touchdown to any one of those. Like those are decent fantasy.
Kind of got like a
days,
1, a
period.
2, and a 3.
Like
Right. I mean,
Fantasy-wise, too.
like reverse it, take away Shaheed's touchdown and 5 for 89. Like that's still
still
good
yeah.
numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we like the Saints on this podcast.
Yeah.
We've said that before.
Saints friendly podcast.
I'm gonna go with Calvin Ridley. I think there was some wonder if he was gonna come back to form, and he looked great. They want to throw him the ball. I think Jared, I know you like Trevor Lawrence. He
Yeah.
looked pretty good. They got the Chiefs this week, but I think they're gonna keep throwing it deep to him, and he's gonna put up some big
Yeah,
numbers.
I think that could be a game this weekend.
Yeah. So I like.
And they seem to be looking for Ridley deep kind of a lot throughout the game.
Yeah, yeah. So I like Ridley. I think he's going to continue to do well going forward here. That was kind of a question mark coming into the season. He was in that 3-4 round.
Yeah.
You're like, you should be back. You should be good.
Right. And then first half,
my
90
Twitter
something
account
yards.
shows me him killing guys in practice. Like,
Right.
but-
He answered in the first half
yeah,
right away.
He looked good. So I like Ridley. All right. We will.
Nice.
Got to get into some therapy here.
That was a good graphic.
If you guys, I just thought we'd throw it in here in case week 1 you got some reactions you're worried about.
Covered all my therapy.
Yeah, we
chop it
this
up.
whole section was your therapy.
Burrow, Dobbins, like my whole team. I think that was all the therapy I.
What was your biggest? Dobbins going down?
I think Dobbins going down. Yeah. That's like he performed.
So in my family league, I had Dobbins go down. So we're in the same boat there.
And he performed well enough prior to going down to like make. It's not like you, like if you had Aaron Rodgers and you were down a point and all you needed him to do was complete a single pass.
Right.
This is, he at least provided the value that you might have needed to win the week. But yeah, I mean, you can go scour the waiver wire and
no one's going to give
we
you.
Did, but like what it seemed like the guarantee of 10, 15, maybe 20-point games is
seriously
not going to happen.
It's just a bummer.
So
I think we were both high on him being.
I've been for years.
Yeah. Well, you told you were on him from college, obviously.
Right.
Your Buckeyes, but he came into the league, was good, and I was just had such high hopes and high expectations.
I just hope he's able to.
He's a big part of my
turn it around.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what you got, Joshua Kelly? You're hoping.
I did. I didn't go after who's the guy that scored the
Justice Hill.
Yeah, because he only had a few.
It was like 2 carries, 2 touchdowns.
So
like,
he didn't have the
whatever it was.
Of carries that feels fluky to me.
We've also been on that ride before last year with the Justice Hill and the Gus Edwards and Latavius Murray. Like all these.
Right.
It's just.
So I when I was factoring in who to bid for, I looked at volume.
Yeah.
And if the Chargers are going to have a high flying defense and they're going to split carries pretty evenly, as that game kind of indicated, then I'm hoping the better choice.
So he was my number 1 waiver ad, I thought too, and in Dynasty where you have Dobbins, that's why I went for him. I was like, I like this guy. Didn't really bid on many other people, but he had a great game, and they've been looking for a second behind Eckler. I feel like just to take some of that workload. And past 2 years, no one's really, won that spot. But I think finally Joshua Kelly's there, and maybe even splitting time just because.
And the Chargers supported 2 fantasy relevant running backs in the past when it was Eckler behind Melvin Gordon.
Right.
Coming up, there was 2 years where they were both as good as one another.
Right.
And then finally.
And I think the running opportunity is going to be there just because teams have to defend the vertical threat.
Right.
So that's I guess
they're a good team. Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe he's not going to be J.K. Dobbins, but maybe he can be an adequate replacement.
Right.
What do you do if you had Aaron Rodgers? What's the play? Who do you go after?
I do think that the quarterback's a little bit more replaceable, but still, I mean,
presuming that like the best quarterbacks are gone, the best quarterbacks have been taken. Who's the best?
You're gonna be,
I feel like we can also be under the assumption that you didn't spend that high of draft capital on Aaron Rodgers.
I think you could pick up Derek Carr, or I mean,
if he's available.
You've been saying that.
I think Derek Carr is going to be very good.
I think we just saw Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford was
pretty good without Cooper Kupp.
He finished in top 5 this week at quarterback position. So I think you can stream a little bit easier with those quarterbacks. You might have to mix and match a little bit more. But definitely a little bit easier to replace the quarterback than someone like Dobbins in your RB2 spot, so.
Right.
But yeah, it is a bummer because he could have been great. And he was later in the draft for whatever reason. How about you, Jared? Do you have any therapy?
A little bit. I had a situation. This is like just fantasy relevant. This isn't like an injury in football or whatever. I had a situation where I needed to pick up a backup tight end because Mark Andrews was out, but my IR slot was filled because I already had Cooper Kupp. And so in my head, I had Kenneth Gainwell and I had Devon Achane, and I had to drop one to pick up my tight end to put in that starting spot. And at the time, I think it was either Saturday night or Sunday morning. And in my head, I liked Achane, had the bigger upside. Wilson was out. There was a chance that he just instantly wins the job over Mostert, whereas Kenneth Gainwell at the time was behind Swift and Penny on the depth chart. So I dropped him. Sunday starts, watching the Patriots, so I'm seeing it,
right.
Every play, and it just hand the ball to Gainwell every time. Penny's a healthy scratch. A-Chain was a healthy scratch, so he didn't get any points from me. And so there I am.
Down again.
After week 1, and then I picked up Isaiah Likely as the tight end. So insult to injury, the tight end I picked up didn't help me at all week 1. And so it was just I got the wrong call. Right. And then I was 7 and then I won the week. So I was later in the waiver priority, had no chance of picking up Gainwell. He went to someone else.
At least he's not going to play tonight and then go off and you're going to be like, At least you got to wait a week before that
That's
happens.
the one caveat of, he's not playing this week. Maybe Swift and Penny finally get some carries and maybe
A-Chain has a good game.
Maybe A-Chain. I still have A-Chain on the team. Maybe there's
a
chance,
so bad.
There's a chance that it's not as binary as it seems to be.
Right.
And that there's still room for A-Chain to improve and room for Gainwell to kind of lose some carries to Swift and Penny.
Right.
But it certainly
in the
didn't feel,
moment,
it certainly, especially they were playing the Patriots. I was forced to watch every snap, and was forced to watch Gainwell get the ball all the time.
Yeah, that's a bummer. But we'll see how it plays out for you.
Right.
Hopefully it'll be all right. If not, we can enter the problem solving stage.
Right. Well, the problem right now
we're just getting things off the chest.
Right.
I mean, also good news is even if I picked him up again, I wasn't going to start him. I have betting running backs.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right. This is
this was just an ego call of me thinking I'm so good at fantasy football and then making the wrong call.
I'm on a podcast.
I'm on a podcast talking.
Did
all my research this year, and it was just a pure judgment call that I got wrong.
Spreadsheet, a podcast.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Well, there you go. Hopefully it'll all work out for you.
All right. No, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
All right.
Let's get into our games.
Well, let's do a little recap on last week. So both Jared and I went 3-1 on our picks, and
I go over.
You went 1-3 is what I have. Is that match your?
Yeah, because you picked the Eagles, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jared and I in the lead. Cam behind.
My Seahawks did not come through.
And my Commanders did not come through.
The one
either.
thing is all of our
individual games,
unique picks all missed.
Our slam dunk picks
really?
did not hit. So
wow.
So to remind everybody, we picked the Thursday night game, even though it's not on the show sheet. The Jets and the Patriots games, and then one pick each that we want to go for. So why don't we start with Cam this week? The Eagles, 1-0 Eagles, are hosting the Vikings, who are 0-1. Vikings lost at home to the Buccaneers last week.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
to the Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers. And the
line?
point spread is -6. Eagles -6.
I want the Eagles. I don't know that the Minnesota didn't look very good to me. You expected even more out of Jets, J Jets. What do they call them? Jefferson.
Yeah.
I don't know. I expected a little bit more. The line looked a little shaky. I don't know. I don't love Alexander Madison, and the Eagles are still, a top tier team. So we're gonna go
and a top tier. They do have some people out.
True.
But I'm going to agree with you and also pick the Eagles at home. I think after their hot start against the Patriots, they sort of, I don't know if they took the foot off the gas or allowed the Patriots back in the game. And whatever that moment was, Eagles are going to rebound from that and I think take care of business at home.
I think probably the defense of the Patriots is better than the defense of the Vikings too.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
I'm also going to go with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Kind of funny that back-to-back week we just happen to be picking Eagles games.
Right, yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly. All right. Next up, we'll go to the Patriots, who are that's not how you spell Patriots. They're at home. They are home dogs. It is the Dolphins -3. So I guess we go down. I'll start with this one. I just don't know if the Patriots offense can keep up.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick usually has that reputation for taking like the big weapon away. They have a pass rush that can make to a bit uncomfortable, but I think I trust them to scheme the Dolphins, that's the team, to scheme this up in a way that allows them to win the game. So
they have enough weapons.
That's going to be hard to do for the Patriots. So I will pick the Dolphins -3. Yeah, and there's a mistake or two in there that Mac Jones is good for.
Yeah.
Just like, welcome to, quarterback purgatory, guys.
Right.
I picked against the Patriots last week, and it just wasn't fun to do that. So I'm taking the Patriots this week. Dolphins had a kind of high-flying, shoot-'em-out game against the Chargers. I think the Patriots' defense is better than the Chargers.
Yep.
I think they figure, something out.
Yeah.
And then I think Patriots' offense is good enough to put some pressure on Miami's defense.
Right. Is Tyreek Hill unguardable? That's what we're going to find out.
Probably.
If Belichick's trying to take away your best player, and he's unguardable, then we've got something's got to break.
I think they do enough to keep it close. And last game, they had, 3 opportunities at the end of the game to go and try to score a touchdown.
Right.
I think if they find themselves in a similar spot, they
hung with the Eagles,
they figure something out, and at least make it a close game to get within that +3.
Oh man, that's good. You guys both had good takes. I'm on the fence. I think I'm leaning towards, as much as I hate to, the Dolphins.
It's worrying me that Cam is picking the same picks as me after going 1-3.
Yeah, I don't know. Dolphins offense just I don't know if they can keep up. I think that's my biggest takeaway. Although I hope the Patriots can slow them down, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, the featured game on CBS 4:25 Jets at Cowboys.
Defensive battle.
Dallas is favored by 9 points in this, so we go to Jared to start.
That's a big spread.
When I looked at this, I saw it was -9. It's a big number, but I think Zach Wilson gives it away, fumbles it, whatever it does, a couple 3-and-outs here or enough 3-and-outs.
Yeah, probably.
Where the Cowboys defense,
if I'm being honest,
keeps the Cowboys in the game, gives Dak, favorable, starting position or field position enough times that it's, it ends up being a more than 2-score game. Or a 2-score game.
Okay. So he has Dallas. You have.
I don't want to pick the same as you again.
Who knows what I'm going to do?
I'm gonna go with the Jets. Breece Hall and carry him to within 9.
Yeah, I think they get within 9. I'll do that too. I don't think this is a 9-point game. I think the Jets defense is too good, and Dak Prescott is too much like Josh Allen.
I could see it being low scoring, actually.
Yeah, I think whatever
the defenses are both
whatever
good.
the over under is, maybe
I take the under. On
take
that,
the under. I think
38.5.
Who?
38.5.
Oh, I thought you said 48.5. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I don't think the Jets are going to win the game on the road. Certainly with Zach Wilson, but I do think I don't think they're losing by 9. Put it that way.
Yeah, that's a big number.
All right, so now we go to our own picks, the game that you want, that you feel like you are the most confident in. What do you got, Cam?
I got the Monday night game.
There's 2. Which one?
Oh, there is 2. I wondering about that. Steelers Browns.
So in that game, Cleveland is on the road. They are road favorites -2.5.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I got Cleveland. I'm a little worried. I mean, so Steelers didn't look great on offense, and then they lost pretty much their number 1 receiver. They have, some other options, but it still doesn't look great. I expect them to do okay this season, but that Browns pass rush and a shaky offense out the gate from the Steelers, I think the Browns handle them pretty easily.
All right, I will pick. It's another pretty big number, but I think the Bills are upset. I think they are angry, and I think they're going to take it out all over the visiting Raiders, a West Coast team playing a 1:00 game.
You love that.
So I will take the Bills here. Bounce back game, get right game, as Cam
Stephon
calls
Diggs.
them. Minus. I mean, I don't think they're going to pressure the quarterback so much there, and the Bills. Yeah, I think the offense has that bounce back game.
Yeah.
So Bills, it's a big number. It's a 2-possession game, but I'll take Bills minus 8.5.
I like it.
I'm going to go with, I don't want to Houston hunt, but I'm going to Houston hunt this week.
You can try.
The Colts at the Texans. Colts are +1. So Texans.
You're taking I got 1.5. What are we going to do?
I'll take the 1.5. You're going to give me 1.5.
No, wait. Houston is, okay, yeah. There, so it's +1.5.
Yeah. Houston is the favorite in this game.
Yes, Houston is the favorite at home.
I know they're at home. I know the Colts have a rookie quarterback.
Got his
But you don't care.
brains beaten out on
true.
Sunday. Yeah,
Yeah, you got a
my
lot of
goodness.
hits. Yeah.
I
That last
still-
hit where he
Take him
got
out of the game.
He just looked so defeated.
It's like you're not
Wasn't
in
that at
Florida
like the
anymore,
2-yard
son.
line too? He was
Yeah,
just like,
man, he got annihilated.
But
in that
I
game.
still find it hard to believe that the Texans are favorites at all, anytime this season.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Colts on the
you go.
road.
Yeah, I don't know. That'll be an interesting game. The two rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Stroud, I think, played the best of all three, depending on he didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
But certainly Richardson was the more electric player. So
I mean, kept them in that game against Jacksonville.
yep.
yeah.
So
All right, so those are the picks. Once again, 3-1, 3-1, 1-3. Keep tracking that this season.
I'm in a hole, but I'll battle back.
All right, so Cam, what do you count combined no hitters as no hitters? So I saw a thing on social media yesterday. Was that Houston that had it, or some team had a combined no hitter going into the 9th inning, and then
That's fine, but it's not. I feel like it's an individual got to go the distance.
yeah, you want an individual to do that.
Yeah, right.
Now let me ask you this then: if there's a team that has a no hitter through 9 innings, but the game is tied, should that be considered a no hitter? Happened to the Yankees. They were no hit for 9 innings, and they won the game in extra innings. But they were no hit for 9 innings. Should that count as a no hitter? It doesn't.
No, you got to win the game.
So it has to be a no hitter for the duration of the game in your mind.
Yeah.
So if you no hit a team for 9 innings,
Your
and it's tied
pitcher's throwing a
0-0.
no hitter and you can't score a run.
So, but that's an indictment of the offense, right? So
yeah, then
is
you gotta figure it out.
all right, so that does not count.
No, if you
right,
yeah.
it's the pitcher's
If
job
in
to
the
head back to
10th
the
inning,
dugout
they get a
and yell
hit,
at his
it's no
team to
longer-
give
Yeah.
him a run. Pitcher didn't motivate his team enough.
Not
yeah,
enough.
right. That's
All
all.
right, so I think those are quality takes from Cam. I mean that is I think most people don't consider the combined no hitters a no hitter. It goes down in the record books as one, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then that is not considered a no hitter unless you
Right.
play the complete 9 innings.
I feel like the fatigue is part of it. If you're strong through
You got to battle through
7, 8, 9th inning, and you're still throwing and striking people out, and can keeping that no hitter intact, then that's part of it.
What's your take on the big news today? Red Sox moving on from their general manager, Chaim Bloom.
Get somebody else in there. This mid 500 season, not
We're
cutting
not.
it.
It's been too many seasons.
The other day I was like, Jared, how'd the Red Sox do? He's like, they need a heck of a September.
It's not.
It's not happening.
Right
It
now,
didn't
the
happen.
Yankees and Red Sox playing out the string doubleheader in
Yeah.
Fenway right now.
Battle for last place. I mean, I agree. It's been plenty of years of the mid Sox, people like to call it.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of hiring Bloom was you hired him, you knew it was going to be a tumultuous, tenure because his job was to build up the farm system, which he has done.
Okay.
And then you have.
I don't have much insight. I was just if the
Right.
season's not great.
Right. But you have years and you have years and years of stay the course, like the Red Sox are coming, stay the course.
Yeah.
You enter this offseason where presumably after a few years of being under the luxury tax, way low in the payroll, presumably Chaim Bloom would have the chance to spend some money this offseason, bring in some veteran players to help out this young core, and right before that's about to happen, they fire him.
Did they fire him?
They
Yeah,
fired
he's
him.
gone.
Oh.
He's out.
That was
Out.
today.
He's out. General manager as of today.
Well, the next guy that comes in is going to be psyched that he's got all these young players.
Right. Exactly. This is a great job to have if you're a prospective general
But
manager.
yeah, that stinks for that guy.
But Chaim Bloom did exactly what Red Sox ownership wanted him to do for the past 4 years, and they fire him
I think
for
they
it.
hoped they would be a little more competitive than they've been the past 2 years, and like things like Trevor Story,
Perhaps,
like,
but
didn't
also
work
like
out. Like that's-
Jeff Passan tweeted out, every year the Red Sox have won the World Series these past 15 years. They've had a top 3 payroll. And for the past 3 years, it's been, I think, below like 11th or something. And it's like, you're the Boston Red Sox. You want to be competitive. You open up, the checkbooks because that's what the Boston Red Sox do. Right. And for the past 3 years, Chaim Bloom has been limited in what he can do. They allowed him to bring in Trevor Story, and, he hasn't lived up to his contract. But
no, it's a terrible contract. Yeah, that's an awful.
That's the story with that.
I'll never understand that one. But anyway, keep going.
But the point being is, like, he hasn't been able to do anything else kind of besides that, other than wait for the young talent to come up. And, we've gotten Tristan Casas, who's been awesome. But we're still waiting on the likes of, Nick York and other players that are some of the top prospects in baseball. They're just not ready yet.
Who came back in the Mookie Betts trade? Alex
Verdugo,
who's been
he's
been fine.
Right.
Not great.
He kind of had some bigger expectations once he came over.
I think that was like.
I think it was Connor Wong was one of the players.
So that's come to define like that era that you
right. The
sent
return
away the best player that the franchise has had in a very long time.
Right.
And the return was poor.
It wasn't Bloom's decision to trade away Mookie Betts, but it was his decision on who he was able to get back.
Trade it for that. Yeah.
And you're right. It wasn't, this big, core, this big young core that you were hoping for.
That's too bad.
Well, who's your pick? Who you got?
For what?
World Series champion right now.
For next year?
No,
Or
this year. I just hope you pick somebody that's like
relevant
in contention.
Yeah.
Last year, this is the
Cardinals. Nope.
No, they're not gonna make the playoffs. Last year, like we asked, or 2 years. Was it last year that Aaron Judge was a free agent?
Yeah.
the Cincinnati Reds.
Going. Yeah.
Missed it.
But then, like, somebody put him in like a Cincinnati Reds jersey online. I sent it to you guys. Cardinals are not gonna make the playoffs.
Dang.
No. All right. Well, we'll keep trying. You know what? We'll try again next week. See if you can come up with a player next week. And eventually, you're gonna hit somebody that makes the playoffs, and you're gonna ride them.
I need a
Standings.
No, just a baseball.
Oh, the
graphic.
Baseball
Just
segment.
at the end of this show.
This the segment where we talk about baseball.
Just says baseball. Right. All right. Well, this has been Fantasy Access. Good luck this
forgot.
week. Week 2. Go get them. Set your lineups.